So does that focus on data with your sales team, does that impact how maybe you hire or train, right, onboard them, because maybe they have more information, or they know they're going to have more information? How does this analytics focus affect or impact some of the hiring that you guys do?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to speak to that. So first of all, I mean, the simple play is that we use all of the data around top agent behaviors to create profiles. So those profiles that we generate, we'll use in specific types of programs at work. And then what we do after a certain amount of time, once a program has vetted itself out, we go back out and say, okay, who from this pool of people who has shown up to be in that top grouping, where do they come from? How do we find them? What do they do on a daily basis? And then we create and vet out an actual specific profile for that specific program and partner that we work with, so we can go find more and really replicate that as much as we can. And what's cool is that what we're able to do, what Barb's team does, I just get to see it, is that they pull together both groups. So they pull together the data that's coming from the sales team, but also the data that's coming from the recruiting teams to say where, how, when, why, and what, right? Like, where do they come from? How do we find more of these individuals and then go out and actually execute to that? And that's where you really see big gains after, like, somewhere between that 30 to 90 day stage, because that's when we've learned enough about what that profile should look like to start going out and rehiring that and churning those groups. The other thing that I mean, she would tell you all the time, when we go do these exercises, what you find is the top 5 people are all completely different, which is actually really cool.
Really?
Because you normally think you're going to find the same person, but it's kind of like the story I was telling earlier about our top rep in one of our programs, who he's not what you'd expect. But the reason for that is many of the times it's about process, right? And you might have a process person, you might have a really efficient person, you might just have the guy that's just sales all the way. So that way we can really sprinkle in a lot of that, because I think that's what makes a great sales program. Is it doesn't all work one way. If you have 100 salespeople, our efficiencies will be awful, right? Because let's face it, salespeople want their own schedules. They want to do it their way. But you need those guys in there to create the great scripting, right? And how we speak and what we say and all the great verbiage that we'd use. And then that's how you kind of create a great sales team. But you need the efficiency guys too to say, how should the day work?
Right.
How should the process of a sale work, right? So what her team's able to do is really vet out all of those at different levels and say, these are the best practices we create when we create our program playbooks, which is really, the Bibles, if you will, of what we do in each specific program.
We hire for the data analytics team the same way. I mean, if you went in and met everybody on the team, there are no cookie cutters.
Because you'd think, data people, you have a vision in your mind of who the data people look like.
You would actually think they have they know personality, and they're gonna let us do what they want to do, and they don't, right? They tell us what to do all the time.
And that's why it's a really good mix, and I think that's why it works so well with, one of the reasons that works so well with the same teams and differentiates us is because they aren't cookie cutters. First of all, most of them have advanced degrees. They've got very strong business acumen capabilities and skills. So they know how to take that data and make it into a business action that can then be handed over to the operations team, as opposed to just saying, the data says X, type of thing. So, we hire different skill sets intentionally for them as well, so that they mesh well with the operations teams as well.
What's really interesting about that is they're very involved on the operations side too, right? They listen to calls, they're part of that process. They sit on our quality control calls, so they understand the back end of what's going on and the why behind the data as well. I think that's always really important, because you could waste a ton of time going through this and going, oh, well, I see what the problem is. It's in this area of your business, and you go, but there's actually a good reason for that. The reason for this. Now, how much work just went into that. So they really understand. We actually were with a partner this week with someone from Barb's team, and she actually, I'd say it's a 50-50 split of how much we're really running our control sessions with our partners and going through and talking through all this information and our actions and things like that, because we're working 100% cohesive together, rather than you're in a back room staring at a spreadsheet telling me what it says and then I got to go figure it out. It's really a cohesive unit to say this works, because without that, I don't think it's a very efficient process. A lot of learnings, and I think you get a couple different minds that are attacking it in a couple different ways that we can really work through the problem and create actions based off that.
And clients love that, because they're getting two different perspectives. They're getting the data, the analytically data-driven perspective, and they're getting the business perspective. So when those two meet, and the analytically driven people have to understand the business side, or it would not work.
For more information on all things sales growth and customer experience, come see us at TTEC.com or subscribe to the Customer Strategist Journal at customerstrategistjournal.com. There's more details in the description below as well. That's all for now. See you next time.